All right. Well, Mance, thank you very much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to sit down and talk with us. I guess
Sure.
before we get started, do you mind quickly introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Mance Harmon. I'm the co-founder with Lehman Baird of both Swirlds and Hedera Hashgraph. And glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Mance, I guess that up until this point, things have been quite busy for you guys.
Yeah.
And I know that there's been a lot of content that's out there where we've learned more about the platform, where you've shared some insights into some of the features of the platform overall. But I guess, what has this past year been like for you? I guess, what it's been like actually getting the platform up and running? And then I guess, has there been kind of any general lessons learned with the overall launch of the platform?
So the last year has been a whirlwind, as you might expect.
Absolutely.
You might imagine. But, even prior to that, there was a lot of work that went into the algorithm, the creation of the algorithm, and then the development of the first code base, and getting traction in permission networks before we even considered creating a public network. So a lot of planning over years, right? Many years to get to the point where we got to last fall, which was the point where we could create a public network. And we spun out Hedera. Even before it was named, we were working on introducing Hashgraph to the world. We went to TechCrunch Disrupt a year ago. That was sort of our first real event.
Right.
And
I know that was the first point where I actually got to see, okay, this is what this technology is about, and this is what can be built with it.
Yeah, exactly. And then we started talking more openly about Hashgraph publicly, beginning to sort of evangelize the technology and what we have in the algorithm, while at the same time laying the groundwork for what we introduced in New York City in March, right? And so between TechCrunch Disrupt, which was September of last year, and March of this year, we only talked about Hashgraph. And I remember on the Telegram channel, everybo's asking, is there going to be a cryptocurrency? What are they doing?
Right.
What's this all about?
Well, there's still confusions today where people are still referring to Hashgraph as a private permissioned ledger, where clearly that has changed since March.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course in March we had the big event in New York City, where we introduced the world to Hedera and to the plans and the fact that it is a global distributed ledger with this governing council of 39 global blue chip organizations. And so, prior to that point, I don't think anybody really appreciated or understood the work that was going into the other parts of the business and what's required to make something like this get adopted by the mainstream, as opposed to just having an algorithm and some tech, a code base, right? That's just not enough. And so we put a lot of work into the other half of the business and introduced that in March. And then since March, we've been everywhere. I've been all over the world, spent many weeks traveling, visiting all the major markets.
The global tour.
And we've also raised a lot of money.
Yep.
And announced that. We've raised $124 million in total since the beginning of the year, really. And now we are at our first developers conference here in Dallas at the Anatole Hotel, and the developer community, it now has the full set of APIs, specifications.
Yeah, that was a really big announcement last week.
It was a major milestone.
Yep.
Certainly a major milestone, and they're now, as we speak, in 8 cities around the world, hacking away.
Exactly.
And really looking forward to seeing the results of those.
Well, I know we've already gotten reports from Singapore that there's a pretty good turnout, and then I guess Moscow and also London have also some pretty interesting teams building away on top of the platform.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing the projects and what the community is building. Yeah.
So I guess, Mance, now as we kind of look forward for Hedera Hashgraph, I guess, Is there any perceived challenges and maybe even opportunities that you see for the platform overall, as far as maybe adoption or the technical development of the platform?
The technical development is going well. Software always takes longer to develop than you'd like for it to take.
Absolutely.
Having said that, I'm very pleased with where we are. It's great to have the community now getting to see it for the first time and actually build on top of it. And we'll get the feedback, and we still have to harden it. We're engaged with multiple third-party security vendors to come in and do various types of security testing. And that will continue from now through until March of next year. There's still a lot of optimizations that remain to be done, so much low-hanging fruit. When you consider the different parts of the platform and what we've been building from scratch, there's cryptocurrency with smart contracts, Solidity smart contracts, and distributed file storage. Each of those is a major piece of work.
Well, I think the Ethereum virtual machine took over 2 years before that was fully developed.
So they did their thing, and then we had to use Solidity. We had to come up with this concept we call realms. And make it work within our environment so that Solidity developers can go and take their scripts and port them over very quickly and easily and use in our environment. All of these 3 parts were a heavy lift, if you will, in terms of the work that had to go into the development of the platform. But all of that's going great. In terms of the other business, other half of the business, the creation of the council, when we first started this, that really was what I was worried about the most. Right? Can we actually get 39 global blue chip organizations to join us and provide the governance that's needed to make the mainstream markets trust us with the money that they're going to invest building dApps?
And also 39 is a lot of organizations.
39 is a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I don't go to bed at night worried about that any longer. It is taking longer than I would like for it to take.
Sure.
But at this stage, even back in Q1, we got to this point where we recognized we would be able to pull the 39 together. When we started this at TechCrunch a year ago,
back in 2017,
it was a big question mark.
Sure.
And everybody was saying, "Mance, you're crazy. There's no way you're going to be able to do this. It's just too hard." But we decided we have got a compelling story and a compelling approach and a lot of good reasons for companies, these kinds of companies, to want to join us. And we decided to dive headfirst into this activity, and we've been pursuing it since then. At this stage, I know for certain that we will have the council. I'm very anxious to be able to announce who those members are. We have made a lot of progress over the past few months. We had our first council meeting in New York City about a month ago. And so we're getting closer. But like software, pulling together something like this in the council, it's taking longer than I'd like for it to take. But it's not something that keeps me up at night. I know that in the short term, we're going to be able to make some big announcements.
That's excellent. Well, I know we'll be on the lookout for that. So I guess, Mance, the whole reason we're actually here today is for Hedera 18. I guess, what are you kind of most excited for this conference? What should we maybe be on the lookout for? And then I guess, while we're recording this, content's for the community and the conferences for the community, I guess if you have anything to generally say to the community as a whole.
Well, the community has been great. This conference is all about really introducing the developer community to the platform. And we're doing that in various ways. We have high-level discussions that are being presented. Lehman is going pretty deep into something called formal methods, which is basically a way of using computers to validate or check math proofs for correctness. And so we now have a full COQ proof. COQ is a tool that's used in the field of formal methods to provide proofs or check proofs, math proofs. We now have that. It's going to be released this week on the website. Lehman's going to talk at length about that from stage.
We might have heard the gossip on this.
Oh, you heard
earlier.
it from Lehman. You heard the gossip from Lehman.
Yeah.
So good. That's a big deal. It's just further evidence that what we have is real. I know that the community has been digging into the math of the technology or the algorithm, and we're still very proud of Hashgraph as an algorithm and what we've done, and we continue to formalize not just the math proof, but the next step would be to formalize the proof of correctness at the bottom of the technology stack, ultimately the hardware, and then on top of that the software stack all the way up through the full stack of services. That will take a long time.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely essential from our perspective. You have to have those kinds of proofs. If we're going to have a platform that is used to process trillions of dollars of value, then it's going to be attacked. And the only way, the most effective way to ensure that it's solid is through formal methods. And so we place a big emphasis on that. Another big emphasis is going to be on micropayments. So we've made a lot of effort into of course, the cryptocurrency service and its support for micropayments natively on Graph, meaning that there are no side chains or Lightning Network or anything like that. Everything is directly on the Graph.
Yep.
And we're going to be introducing some tools, the ability to use a plug-in to a web browser so that you can have micropayments built into the website and take advantage of that technology. And I know that a lot of that's been released this week. I'm not exactly sure when all of that's happening, but it's ongoing.
Right.
And so a big focus on micropayments and the various use cases, business models that you can take advantage of micropayments. That's probably going to be true for the company through launch of next, sometime in late Q1 of next year. A big focus on micropayments and all the value that we can get as a community from having native micropayments.
Right, and then up until this point, we really haven't seen many DLT platforms deliver on a fast, fair, and secure method of providing micropayments. So
yes,
that's one of the most exciting pieces of Hedera Hashgraph. So.
Well, I think we've technically solved that problem. It's interesting because we're providing native support for micropayments in our platform. Ultimately, that's not enough, right? If we want to get to the point where developers can take, say, 7 lines of code and embed it into their dApp, and then have fiat deposited into their bank account when they accept H bars, from the users, and then have fiat deposited directly into their bank account, that requires an ecosystem.
Right.
And so we're also working on that, and there'll be announcements later on what that looks like. But the goal here for the company is to take a solution to market that really is the micropayment or cryptocurrency solution that developers can use to accept HBAR.
Great. Well, Mance, obviously we covered a lot. Greatly appreciate your time, but I guess before we wrap up here, is there anything that you might want to say to the community in kind of final reflection?
Oh, so we are on a mission. You've heard me say that many times before. We view this technology as a way of improving the way the internet works for all of us, and there are a number of dApps that are along on the ride with us at this point. I was just talking to Jordan Freed, who's our head of biz dev, outside before I came in, and we now have, 150-ish kind of dApps that are joining us. We're going to be talking about some of them from stage, and it's fascinating to see that the different applications that they're coming up with, and all of them that we're highlighting from stage are actually improving the world in which we live for all the different communities, constituencies that they're built for. And that's really fun. I mean, that's why we're doing this,
right,
is to make the world a better place for us all. And so thank you to all the dApps that are joining us on this mission. And I look forward to meeting all of you. I know that I'm going to be meeting a bunch here this week. We have a room full of developers downstairs.
Yep.
So looking forward to meeting them, and thank you for being with us on this ride.
Well, thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing from all you guys at Hedera 18.
Great.
So
thank you for your interest.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
All right.